how to use Inkscape. On how to make a tongue and groove project on Inkscape. So as you saw before, my project was to make what do you call it? A wooden house, using tongue and groove methods. So when you open up Inkscape, it might not look like this because I have it already preset to page grid, but you can totally take that off or put it back on. I like having page grid on there. So before you design, you want to go into File, download Document Properties, and make sure your width and your height are 12 by 12, and it's under inches, because the piece of wood you get to cut out your project will be 12 by 12, and you don't want it to be any less than that or any more than that, because it'll mess up with the cutting of your project. So to make a basic tongue and groove, you're just going to get 2 squares. Let's make them red. Make 2 squares. And both of them, I'm going to set them inches, and I want them 4 by 4 because our group decided to make the house a 4 by 4. It'll just be easier for like everything, I guess. So I'm just going to set this to 4. So now they make the same measurements. And to make a tongue, you just oh, and one other thing. When you're making a square, make sure you click out of this by going up here to the cursor, because if you stay on this and you want to move this, you won't be able to. You'll instead make other squares you don't want to, and it's not good because otherwise your cutter will cut random squares. So just click over here, and then now that you're on that setting, you can just move wherever you want it. So to make a tongue, you just make another square, and I like to make my tongue and my grooves different colors. So I'm going to make mine this white color, or this pink color, and I'm just going to make a basic, this is why I like the grid, because I like the grid to make my tongues 2 by 2. So place it, so then it's just like that. I like to move it so it sits perfectly. So that's your tongue, but now the laser cutter is gonna think you want it to cut out these 2 squares, and you don't want it to. You want it to all be one path and not have 2 different paths. So you select all of it and go up here to Path and Union, and this will allow it to be all one. You see how it went from pink to red? That means it's all one square, and you don't have to worry about the laser cutter making 2 different squares. So now to make the groove, so the place for the tongue to attach into, you just make another square. And I'm going to make this square yellow. Oops, not that square. Make the square yellow. So then you just make the square the size of your tongue, and then click out, and I like to just move it over like that. And so now we have a groove, but again, the laser cutter thinks you wanted to cut out 2 different squares, so instead of leaving it like that, you want to click on the whole thing. And instead of union, you want to do difference. So now it's like a little cutout, and so you can just easily connect them like that. So that's how you make a tongue and groove. And now I'm gonna do a basic a time lapse of how we designed the front of the house, because that was definitely the most challenging in designing it. But yeah, so here's gonna be like a time lapse of how I did this part in Inkscape. So